Have you noticed that the very moment you stop chasing what you long for the most is when the universe begins to move toward you? The instant you stop waiting, stop clinging, stop sending out the signal of, I need to be loved, I need to be chosen. That's when you begin to radiate quietly, yet powerfully, like a star that doesn't need to be seen to know it shines. This is not a story about giving up or pretending not to care. It's a story about energy, the kind you emit in every breath, every glance, every unconscious thought. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. If you don't become aware of the vibration you're silently sending out, you'll keep believing life is simply turning its back on you." Let's be honest for a moment. Have you ever tried to look fine while quietly bleeding inside from not being seen? Have you ever cut off just to show you didn't care, but secretly checked your phone, craving one small sign that you still mattered? This isn't your fault. It's the voice of the shadow, the unacknowledged wounded part of your psyche silently broadcasting your energy field. And that field, not your positive thinking, not your surface-level peace, is what the world is truly responding to. Jung never spoke of vibrations in the New Age sense, but he understood deeply the human psyche is a living energy field where ego and soul dialogue through symbols, dreams, and unconscious patterns. He called this journey individuation, the process of returning to your center, where you no longer send the signal, "Please validate me," but instead become a self-contained field, quiet, whole, magnetic, without needing to prove anything. You don't need to learn how to attract anyone. You just need to look at the trembling part of you that's been smiling through the fear and set it free. You don't need to be held. You just need to stop emitting the signal that you're afraid of being left behind. If you've ever asked, "Why do I keep falling into connections that make me feel small? Why do I still get triggered even after I've healed? Or I've done the self-love work, so why am I still waiting to be chosen?" The answer is not in what you do, it's in what you radiate. And Carl Jung, the father of depth psychology, gave us the key not to control reality, but to become the reality you were meant to live. In the next chapter of this video, we'll step into the realm of the shadow, what Jung called the denied side of the soul. We'll uncover why your most sincere desires might still carry the vibration of begging and how to turn need into self-born radiance. If you're tired of doing everything right just to feel loved, then this journey is your invitation home. Not to change someone else, but to stop needing anyone to prove that you are already enough. You enter a new conversation with someone you care about. On the surface, your voice is calm, your words grounded. Okay, you say. But beneath the calm, there's a tremor, a longing so deep, it quietly pushes energy outwards. I need to be seen. I need to be valued. You might not consciously demand attention, yet every glance flicks in an anxious dance, every smile holds a secret plea. Jung would say, this isn't error, it's signal. Your energy field, the subtle radiance that precedes thought and speech, broadcasts what lies in your unconscious. When our vibration is rooted in true desire, a soulful yearning, it carries a different quality, open, receptive, magnetic. But when it arises from compulsion, from the seed of lack, fear, or unprocessed pain, it carries a tension that unconsciously signals, fill this emptiness inside me. And the world responds not to who you wish to be, but to what you are energetically transmitting. What drives so many of us into repetitive patterns, attractive friendships that fizzle, relationships that circle back to familiar disillusionments, is not chance. It's the compulsion to repeat. Jung described this force as our shadow playing out old dramas again and again. Even when our minds claim we've healed and we've read the self-help books done, the shadow work, journaled till dawn, our energy is still playing an unintegrated recording. Don't abandon me. Prove your love. Make me matter. Look at Carla's story. On paper, she's done the healing. Meditation, therapy, journaling, all checked. Yet every new connection fell apart again in subtle but unmistakable ways. Why? Because under her surface, her vibration still carried a trace of compulsion. Quiet, sometimes invisible, but real as gravity. In that energetic signature, the other person didn't feel a confident soul. They felt the weight of being responsible for her emotional survival. This is the chasm between desire and compulsion. Desire is fueled by inner fullness. It is a call of aliveness. It says, I want to share this beauty not because I lack it, but because it flows naturally. It is embodied in joy, curiosity, and presence. Compulsion, by contrast, is fueled by a deep-seated fear scarcity. It whispers, if you don't give me attention, I cease to exist. It wraps attachment in urgency and clings to outcome. These two can appear similar on the surface, both raise your heartbeat, both stir longing. But their energetic roots diverge sharply. One is vibrant autonomy. The other is desperation masquerading as desire. The distinction matters. Desire lives in freedom, compulsion lives in fear. And fear, no matter how prettily dressed, is self-perpetuating. Take Natalia's experience. After a long cycle of heartbreak, she believed she was healed. She meditated, spoke her truth, even wrote a healing blog. Yet, when someone new entered her life, she found herself compulsively analyzing every silence, every pause in text notifications. On paper, she looked measured. In energy, she was coiled, waiting to be confirmed. Why? Because her compulsion, a need to ensure she wouldn't be hurt again, was still rooted in fear. Even as her voice expressed autonomy, her energy unconsciously broadcast, prove you're safe, prove you won't leave. And life reflected that back. Once more, she attracted someone who eventually matched that vibration, someone who couldn't or wouldn't prove long-term safety, triggering the wound all over again. This is the crucible of transformation Jung showed us. True transformation doesn't happen in the ego's I want to improve. It happens when the shadow war's silent, unconscious wound rises to consciousness. When we truly see the compulsion beneath our want, the cycle begins to unwind. Imagine this. You feel the impulse to text again, to ask, do you miss me? Pause. Before you type, breathe. Then ask yourself, is this voice in me asking because I'm curious and shareable desire, or because I'm anxious and empty compulsion? That tiny acknowledgement awakens presence. It interrupts the autopilot of the past. That pause itself is a rebirth of agency. This is not an intellectual exercise, it's a somatic revelation. It happens in your nervous system, in the flicker of your chest, in the quiet hesitation at the edge of impulse. That's where individuation unfolds, in the liminal space between impulse and action. When your vibration moves from compulsion into source desire, everything shifts. The people who resonate with your true frequency begin to appear effortlessly, not because you strategized, but because your field stopped broadcasting, "Fill me," and started broadcasting, "I shine." But make no mistake, this is not overnight magic. It's not about flipping a switch. It's a loving, courageous dismantling of shadows you've carried and whispered assurances you've tried to steal from others. So here's your gentle invitation. The next time you find yourself emotionally triggered, checking your phone again, wishing for proof, waiting on a message, pause and ask, is this energy coming from fullness or from fear? Let your body answer. Over time, you'll find that desire grows in those quiet spaces of inner recognition. It becomes less about needing what you want and more about sharing what's true. That difference is everything. Have you felt that subtle shift between wanting and needing? Share one word in the comments that captures your experience, desire, or compulsion. One word. This is a calm, caring space where your awareness matters. Let's create a collective witness to each gem of insight, to each moment we reclaim our energy. In Part 2, we'll dive deeper into the mechanics of the shadow itself, how it creates invisible patterns, how it projects our unintegrated parts onto others, and how we can begin the courage work of shining true desire. We'll walk through 3 specific shadow activation patterns and practice one simple technique to begin disarming compulsion in real time. If your spirit aches for authentic love, not the frantic chase, but the calm connection, then don't go anywhere. We're just beginning. You've begun to notice the pattern, a spark of interest followed by subtle pull, and then inevitably, a friction, a misunderstanding, a quiet withdrawal. Like Natalia's story in Part 1, new connections unwittingly trigger old wounds. Their faces become stages for your unintegrated parts. To understand why, we must delve into 2 of Jung's profound insights, projection and transference. Imagine you meet someone new who reminds you, perhaps not consciously, of a parent who never listened. You may find yourself reacting emotionally, attributing intentions to them that belong not to them, but to your past. That's projection, your unconscious aspects, both light and shadow air, cast onto another person. Carl Jung described this. Projections change the world into a replica of one's own face. The world becomes a mirror reflecting not objective reality, but your inner realm. Those discomforts, rejections, or longings emerge not because of external actions, but because your energy is painting them there. Let's say your partner fails to reply quickly. It's not the delay itself that wounds you, it's the echo of a childhood need for reassurance, fear of abandonment. Your reaction projects that shadow onto them. Even if they have no intention to hurt you, feel hurt. The real moment is not the silent seats, what lies inside you. Transference is projection's older, more complex cousin. It is projection directed at authority figures, therapists, mentors, or intimate partners, where past unresolved dynamics replay. Over time, your partner might begin to feel like a parent, a teacher, or even a child you once were. In therapy, this is precious soil. Unseen wounds surface through transference, revealing deep script patterns. Jung said that only by identifying these projected complexes can we reclaim them. But in everyday relationships, unchecked transference leads to recurring dramas, arguments about needing space, constant reassurance, or feeling suffocated, all because your past is whispering through your present. Projection. You unconsciously attribute parts of yourself onto others. You're ignoring me, when really it's your own fear of invisibility. Transference. You live a past dynamic again in a present relationship. You're acting like my ex. You're treating me like my mother did. It's projection targeted at someone who assumes the role. Projection can be fleeting and situational. Transference is more patterned, deeper, and emotionally charged. Both reveal the silent scripts that govern our behavior, and both can only be healed by bringing unconscious content into conscious awareness. Here are 3 shadow-activated patterns that often derail our attempts at presence and connection. the pleaser's trap. You accommodate others to avoid conflict. Inside, your shadow whispers, "If myself, I'll be rejected." You end up craving validation through compliance. Your energy says, "I am not okay unless I'm keeping the peace." The critic's loop. You find yourself harshly judging others or yourself for not meeting your expectations. That voice echoes the shadows, doubt, "I am not enough, so why would others be?" Your energy vibrates judgment, and others feel it. The withdrawn watcher. You cut off emotionally under stress, becoming unavailable. Sound confident. Beneath it lies the shadow message, "I must protect myself from pain." Your field radiates detachment, and others respond with distance. Once these patterns activate, our whole field shifts. Others may react, either recoiling or mirroring back our unintegrated parts. And we remain stuck, believing the dynamic is just how relationships go. Seeing our shadow means feeling the knot in your chest when you refrain from texting and recognizing, "I am afraid they'll forget me." Or acknowledging the frustration when someone disagrees and claiming, "I fear I'm not smart enough." Jung said, "We do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Every tension you feel, every moment of seeking reassurance, every surge of inner withdrawal is a signal, a compass, pointing toward a hidden wound in need of light. Here's a simple, transformational practice. Notice. When triggered, pause. Sit with the emotional tension in your body. Name. Silently say, "I notice I feel left out, judged, anxious." Ask, "Is this arising from my desire, freely wanting to share, or from a compulsion, needing proof to feel safe?" Breathe. Allow the tension to exist without needing action. Respond. When rooted in desire, you can choose openness. When rooted in compulsion, you can choose presence. This is not walking away. It's leaning into your humanity. It is the beginning of energetic individuation, declaring, "I am not this wound. I am the one who witnesses it." If this resonates, share one word below: projection, transference, or ignited. Let's form a community of witnesses. Each person shining their light bravely into the parts previously unseen. In the next section, we'll explore how to practice energetic presence, integrating those shadows so they no longer direct your choreography. We'll walk through a daily meditation practice ground, Witness Radiate, that helps you stabilize your energy field, reclaim your center, and build a vibrational presence that is undeniably magnetic. If you're ready to step out of the replay of the past, keep watching. We have only just begun. We've walked through the shadows, the unconscious scripts that pull us into old dramas, and learned the fine distinctions between desire and compulsion, projection and transference. Now comes the core of transformation, energetic presence. This is not just theory, it's lived experience. It's what awakens the soul and magnetizes life in alignment with your true self. Imagine standing in the midst of a storm, and yet within you there is calm, a place untouched by wind or thought. That place is your self-Jung's central archetype, the union of opposites, the witness, the sovereign stillness that doesn't chase, but simply is. Energetic presence isn't about becoming someone more visible. It's about allowing the storm to happen around your center without losing yourself. It's the vibrational field born from stillness, not action. Through it, you don't need to chase. You simply stay, and life flows toward you. Here is a simple, powerful, cumulative practice to stabilize your energy field. A. Ground. Begin with 3 slow breaths. Feel your body firmly connected to the earth. Acknowledge the physical support that's always there. You are not floating, you are anchored. B. Witness. Scan your inner landscape. Notice your emotions, thoughts, impulses, without judgment. If anxiety arises, let it be. If longing stirs, allow it. You are not those sensations. You are the watcher. This act of witnessing begins the dissolving of compulsion and projection. C. Radiate. From this grounded witness-aware state, sense a gentle warmth in your heart. Imagine it expanding outward in waves. This is presence not prideful, but quietly luminous. It doesn't demand. It simply radiates. Do this daily morning pause at noon and before sleep, and your field begins to shift. You're training your nervous system to not react, but respond. When you feel the impulse, anxious to reply, tempted to check your phone, worried about silence, use the pause technique. Stop. Literally. Place a finger on your lips. Raise a hand in silence. Breathe. Take 3 slow breaths. Ask, where is this coming from? Observe whether it's desire, compulsion, projection, or transference. Choose. Let desire guide your action, or let compulsion release into stillness. Proceed. If it's desire, speak. If it's compulsion, wait and let the moment pass. This tiny pause rewires the neural pathway. It interrupts the old wound's momentum. It gives birth to presence. As you ground and witness, your fields begin to change. Others start to notice. It's not the content of your words that creates impact. It's your resonance. That silent stillness becomes a call, a field pull that invites authenticity, not drama. You're no longer part of a reactive cycle. You've exited the vortex. Instead, your life begins to reflect your integrity decisions made from clarity, relationships that mirror consciousness experiences that nurture rather than drain. Recall Lena, the one who tried to understand every punctuation. The moment she began practicing presence, she didn't change her partner's behavior overnight. She changed hers. One evening, he didn't reply at his usual time. Her old impulse anxiety texting again. This time, though, she paused, grounded, witnessed the tightness in her chest, and let that belief they might just leave me soften. She didn't reach out. Later, her partner noticed she seemed steady. He said, "You seem okay." She replied, "I am." That moment, a ripple in the field, felt like herself choosing herself. The vibration shifted and things began to flow differently. Clarity. You perceive events without drama. You see patterns instead of blaming. Connection. Others feel safe being authentic around you. Your field invites authenticity. You feel empowered to stay or go, not because of fear, but because of inner truth. Inner freedom, even loneliness, becomes a space to sit with yourself in profound completeness. This is individuation, the psychological alchemy. Jung spoke of making your unconscious conscious and allowing the self to birth itself through presence. If you've ever felt the power of simply being present, no words, no pushing, drop a single emoji in the comments. Let's form a sanctuary where presence is witnessed, not validated, where stillness speaks louder than trying. In Part 4, we'll explore how to integrate these practices into daily life, relationships, work, creativity. We'll unpack how energetic presence transforms conflict into conversation pressure, into poise, and separation into communion. We'll also share a guided breathing plus journaling ritual to anchor this work. If you've hung with this journey, thank you. You're cultivating a field of truth. Stay with us. We arrive at a pivotal crossroad, how the triad of ego, shadow, and persona influences your outer world, how you show up in relationships, work, creativity, and how energetic presence transforms that world from the inside out. Imagine meeting someone new. Your persona steps forward, the polished mask you've shaped to be likable, competent, loved. It holds refined body language, rehearsed charm stories of success. It is your social suit. But behind that suit lies the ego, the part of you that constructs identity. I am smart. I am strong. I am lovable. The ego's job is to prove these claims. Beneath both persona and ego lies the shadow, the disowned aspects, the unclaimed feelings of worthlessness, inadequacy, fear, rage, those parts you feel but suppress. The shadow waits in the wings, ready to steal the show when the ego or persona falter. When ego and persona are aligned with healthy self-awareness, the shadow remains integrated, verified by presence. But when persona masks shadow wounds, the shadow erupts as projection, sabotage, compulsion. The more energy you pour into maintaining persona, I must look good, I must be respected, the more unconscious the shadow becomes and more power it holds. In a relationship, your persona tries to be perfect partner. Your ego wants validation. Love me, respect me. Your shadow reacts to any perceived rejection, jealousy, anger, withdrawal. A text unanswered triggers your shadow before you realize. You feel unseen. The persona might say, "I'm fine." The ego may interpret, "They must not care." But that sting in your chest, that knot, that's the shadow's wounded echo. Unless acknowledged, it directs your next move. Silent treatment, anxiety, or clinging. Recognition is key. When you say, "I noticed, I feel unseen, unworthy," you interrupt the drama. You sidestep the persona's need to be liked and the ego's craving for validation. And you don't get hijacked by the shadow's revenge. True presence arises when you no longer need your persona to perform, your ego to be validated, or your shadow to be hidden. You stand in stillness, with ego balanced, persona light, and shadow acknowledged. In that space, you may still text, late disagree, feel bored, but your energy is different. You're clear and authentic. Conflict becomes conversation. Mistakes don't define you. Your vibration says, "I see you. I am enough. We can be whole together." This shift invites others to do the same. You no longer trigger survival reflexes. Instead, you guide the energetic field toward deeper mutuality. Here's a powerful exercise to integrate the triad pause in interaction during work, a call, a text. Scan internal. Internally is this, me acting from my persona, my ego's need, or my shadow wound. Speak internally. Persona says I must impress. Ego wants validation. Shadow fears rejection. Anchor, breathe, let it be seen. Respond. Choose from yourself, not from masked survival. Try it with partners, colleagues, friends. See how your presence changes the relational dynamic. Remember, Lena From. Part 3. She experimented with presence, paused in the middle of her old triggers. She realized her texts were deadened by persona, I must look stable. Her ego, I must be reassuring. Her shadow, I must not feel abandoned. In a late-night call, when she felt unseen, she paused and said, "I feel anxious missing you. I want you in my life." That vulnerability revealed herself behind the masks. The tension dissipated, and so did the old pattern. It happened not because she acted polished, but because she acted honest. If you've ever peeled back your mask and invited someone to see the vulnerable you with courage, drop one phrase in the comments I show myself. Let's create a space where authenticity wins over image, realness over perfection. In the final section, we'll explore creative alchemy, how energetic presence transforms your work art and daily rhythms. We'll uncover how genuine empathy and self-integration unlock deeper flow states, and how you can begin to live work and life as an intentional field. If you've stayed with me this far, you're already moving beyond masks into your true center. Don't go anywhere. There's depth and beauty waiting in the next chapter. By now, we've journeyed through shadows, persona, ego, and presence. We learned to pause, witness, dispel projected energy, and align with our true self. But the true reward emerges when that centered presence begins to shape your creative life, your work, and your everyday magic. When life begins to unfold with flow and synchronicity. This is where energetic presence transcends inner healing and blossoms into soulful communion with life itself. Picture this. You're writing, painting, coding, coaching, or simply having a conversation, and suddenly, time disappears. Ideas come effortlessly. You feel fully alive, grounded, and chosen by life itself. This is flow, that state Jung alluded to as self being in rhythm with the self, where conscious and unconscious dance in harmony. Flow isn't just productivity, it's energetic alchemy. In it, ego steps to the side, persona relaxes, and shadows vanish. You access creativity that isn't yours alone. It's a resonance between your soul and the collective psyche, a moment where craftsmanship meets sacred alignment. When presence becomes habitual, flow becomes more accessible. That still center you practiced lends stability and spaciousness. As you release compulsion and projection, the energy reservoir fills with ease, not force-fueling deep intuitive work that feels not only effortless, but deeply meaningful. Flow is inner harmony played out. Synchronicity is the cosmic echo, a meaningful coincidence that occurs when you align vibrationally with yourself. Jung called these chance events meaningful coincidences, numbers, appearing, people calling at just the right time, a book opening to the exact insight you need. In the throes of presence, your field doesn't just attract tasks, it aligns you with people, symbols, and serendipity that deepen your inner knowing. A meeting sparks a collaboration. A phrase on social media lands like a guiding star. Simple kindnesses emerge from strangers. These aren't accidents. They're signs that your energy is resonating with something larger than you. How do you cultivate flow and synchronicity in everyday life? Consider these bridge practices. A. Creative pausing. Before writing, drawing, or speaking, take a grounding breath. Witness your inner state and set intention. I open my field to flow. Don't demand perfection, invite curiosity. B. Symbolic logging. Keep a small journal of synchronistic moments. A phrase you heard, a number that repeats an unexpected phone call. Notice patterns. When you do, you build a mirror that reflects your evolving soul path. C. Ritual of presence. At the start and end of your day, perform a short ritual. Lighting, a candle-breathing center, setting an energy intention. This signals to yourself and your field that you're living from a grounded self, not a reactive ego. These aren't rigid steps. They are thresholds, moments where you choose presence over pressure, curiosity over compulsion. Meet Marcus, a freelance writer. He'd spent years chasing clients, pushing words, getting buried under revisions. Then he discovered presence practice. Before each session, he grounded. He paused before each draft. He logged moments when ideas flowed effortlessly. One day, an old friend, now a publisher, reached out after weeks of silence. They offered a book deal out of the blue. Marcus realized it wasn't chance. It was the moment his field aligned with his calling. He didn't explode with frantic outreach. He didn't strive to prove himself. He invited presence, and life responded. That is energy at rhythm with self. Presence doesn't just optimize creativity, it reveals purpose. When you're not chasing external validation, life begins to respond with invitations that match your inner resonance. Opportunities appear that reflect your real skill, passion, and integrity, not because you force them, but because your field invited them. Meaningful coincidences become signposts along a path you consciously walk, no longer wandering in doubt or chasing relevance. Check-ins. Weekends. Ask yourself, have I paused this week? Have I witnessed the flow, symbol tracking? Similar to dream work record recurring symbols in daily life, watch their patterns. Community resonance presence deepens when shared. Conversation creative circles retreats can amplify the field. Have you ever experienced an unexplained moment of flow or synchronicity? Did a message arrive just when you needed it, or did your work feel like it flowed through you effortlessly? Share your experience in 2 sentences or less. Let's build a resonant field here and now. As we prepare to bring all this together in the final section, we'll weave personal integration offering daily rituals, journaling prompts, and next steps to stabilize your presence, creativity, and alignment with deeper calling. We'll tie together all the themes: shadow, presence, flow, synchronicity into a cohesive integration map for your life's journey. If your heart is stirred by the real possibility of living from depth, not performances, stay with me. Our finale is an invitation to embody the journey we've begun together. We have journeyed through shadows and persona presence and flow, creative emergence, and synchronic guidance. In part 6, we now anchor everything in the realities of everyday life, relationships, career, creativity, bringing psychological insight into tangible living. We explore how to sustain integration, balance the inner field, and continue evolving in a fragmented world. We live in a culture wired for speed, notifications, demands, endless scroll. The field of awareness we've been cultivating must be protected. This means returning daily to ground, witness, radiate. But in daily life, we also need micro practices, micro pauses. Before responding to email or message, pause for a breath and ask, is this an invitation or a compulsion? Anchor. Phrases. Carry a mental reminder, I am present, and let it guide each moment. Nature breaks. Step outside every day for a moment of breath and stillness. These brief resets recalibrate your field. Through repetition, awareness becomes habit. Gradually, you no longer need a timer, you begin to live from presence naturally. In professional or creative flow, our persona and ego are active, but when aligned with presence, they serve rather than drain us. Work grounded in self. If you're giving a presentation, pause before entering the room. Breathe. Let presence fill you. Your field then becomes the stage rather than the performance. Creative by invitation. Approach creative work as dialogue with your inner self, not struggle. Ask what wants to emerge today and let intuition lead. Integration reflection. At day's end, journal briefly. What made me feel alive? What felt compelled? This reflection keeps alignment alive. Even the strongest relationships can shake us. But when we've integrated, our field conflict becomes fertile. Notice triggers. That moment you feel hurt, anxious, or reactive. Stop. Use that familiar pause. Own your field. Share your inner experience. I feel uncertain instead of interpreting their actions. Listen to yourself. Gauge whether reaction arises from compulsion, projection, or presence. Then choose response. Create relational depth. In doing so, your presence invites others to lower the walls. Connection deepens naturally. Transformation lives in the small rituals of daily life. Morning intention. Before morning tasks, set the tone. Today, I remain present to life's orchestration. Midday reset. A few breaths and journaling lines, I am here now, reinforces presence. Evening integration. Reflect on flow synchronicity. Resistances you met today. Let your field settle before sleep. These rituals are the scaffolding that holds transformation in place beyond mere inspiration. This work thrives in community sharing. Field experiences, dissolves isolation. Witnessing another's vulnerability confirms our own. When you share in comments, my flow moment today was, or I felt synchronicity when, you contribute to a collective field of awareness that supports deeper growth for us all. Have you noticed a shift in your daily presence? An email replied with calm, a conversation that stayed real, or a decision made from clarity? Please share 2 sentences in comments. Let's build a collective energy of grounded transformation today. Pressures, setbacks, heartbreaks, they test our field. In those moments, lean into integration, embrace overwhelm, see its shadow message. Reground. Quickly. Return to breath. Remind yourself. This, too, is field. Reflect again. What's triggering the shadow ego-wounded persona needing approval? Circle back. Share your internal world. This builds resilience and authenticity. In this way, pressure becomes invitation, not collapse. In the final section, we will synthesize every step: shadow recognition, energetic presence, creative alchemy, relationship, resonance, daily ritual, into a complete integration map for life. You'll receive specific steps, inner prompts, and invitations to deepen this journey alone and in our growing community. If this journey feels alive within you, stay with us. The full circle awaits.